Hey folks, it's Dickhead. I want to talk about um, Ukraine and Russia, and why I'm not going to get involved. It's more of a saying that let civilization figure out their problems, you know, and I'm not going to step over people's positions because even though I am where we are appointed as the United States ambassador for Donald J. Trump's administration in the future, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to make a scene. And people or humans needs to know how to deal with it on their own problems. Why should we get involved? Shouldn't be a question that you guys should have an opinion on. Why should this person, us, supposed to be or should get involved? Why should I impersonate a cop for being to deal with justice? If Russia wants to invade, let him invade. If Ukraine wants to drop down their weapons and surrender, let them surrender. But if I was to get involved and use my superpowers while they're in conflict, that's saying that what parties am I involved in? I'm not gonna be in Ukraine. I'm not gonna be in Russia. I'm gonna leave them two alone and let the world figure that out. I want to focus on what's needed that still needs to be what do you call it? An infractions to the whole entire countries. And I'm speaking in God's tongue. Is what we are trying to interpret in the world. Like I said, it is what we wanted is that Russia and Ukraine to go at each other, and it was predicted last year, but because of us being discovered, things just went our ways, but it got to the point where there's a lot of infractions and conflict between whether God being fictional or God not being real, or people wants an anti-government. We were just wasting our time on that at that, and not a lot of people are afraid or feared. They're not. They're actually more dumber than dumber. They're dumber than dumb, if that makes sense. We just think that people should see how the prices should go up, how much inflation, and have a sense of a third world country with a government support. But we have to look at it, how far will the government support their people in the United States. I'm not gonna necessarily say we should seize. That's how I was planning on doing it if we didn't go to war. If Russia wasn't to get involved in this war right now, I should have said something like we should seize the government support so Americans can finally experience what third world countries are suffering in. But since there's war, there's a chance that America will get involved. We'll have more problems than ever before, and we're gonna have people act up. And by acting up is that they're gonna start doing their most generic primitive behaviors, is that destroying each other's homes, steal and companies, and go back to how 2019 and 2020 with Black Lives Matter and Antifa. I'm just saying how it is, how I vision things, because it's gonna happen again in the future. It's gonna happen actually sooner than expected. And I want you guys to be prepared for that when Americans is the biggest. Americans, I'm not saying America, Americans are actually a terrorist in their own home. If I'm gonna say that one more time, Americans are terrorists in their own homeland. And it's funny because I'm from the Philippines. We're from the Philippines, you know, and we know better to not do that. You know, to start fire, to start riots, to protest. We know that we don't have the kinds of mentality to doing that. We look for a better solution, a solution that's righteous, the justice way. You know, even though it's hard that way, at least it's not destroying people's homes, stealing from businesses, and destroying corporations, and going at a probably 10,000, maybe 40,000 people in a protest at one time, things like that in that nature. You know, like I said, guys, be prepared when inflation rises. Toilet papers. Let's go back to toilet papers. Toilet papers is an example. They're gonna, you know, I'm pretty sure Biden's gonna fucking raise toilet paper issues. And we're just gonna fight over that again. It's just, look, it's like history repeats itself. Like, clearly it does. Food surges, I mean, that's already happening. Common goods, supplies are surges. You know, there's not a lot of supplies and demand going because we're losing a lot, and then our prices are going higher. It's there too, you know. What else? You guys need to know that we're not gonna get involved with what's going on with people's thoughts and their generic problems of COVID. That's just so generic. That's probably like last year's trend. It's still going on, but people aren't psychic. They don't know what's behind closed doors. They don't know what they're talking about. They barely fucking know anything. And that's what's good about people, is because when they think they know, they say, I'm a libertarian, meaning I want an anti-government. And DNC for life, FOB fan page, you know, that's good. That's all good. That's what I love about politics, is that stupid people think they know fucking everything. You know, when they say, look, if we have an anti-government, we're gonna have crops and lands to fucking sanction, and who's gonna fucking take care of you while you're defending and someone else is stealing from you? You're gonna say you can do it all yourself, all alone? I'm like, what kind of fucking stupid idiot am I dealing with right now? Ask yourself, how do you plan on defending your country while all else comes together, as in, you know, you trying to defend it alone, and while your offsprings and your spouse and whoever you have as family members are in that community is struggling to defend it as well. You think now think of it as your country. With every corruption there is, either with your family members inside your household or a country filled with corruptions, how do you supposed to defend your own country with so much corruption? There's like, bruh, why? Why is this question even being brought up? If you know that this is a struggle for you already at a household and dealing with your other life, either school, college, paying your bills, getting it on time. I mean, how do you plan on taking all that much load if you're not a psychic, but you ask an opinion that's so fucking stupid? That tells me a lot that a person with that kind of intellect isn't a psychic and isn't as bright, regardless if you're going to college. I want to keep it at that because it's past 10 minutes and we got to go. Alright, it's your guy Dickhead. If you want to ask questions about feudalism and more about a commentary podcast, let me get involved because we have a lot of things to talk about, and it's not primitive, it's not generic, it's public affairs and what's currently happening in our society, because I'm your favorite psychic. So get in touch with me and we'll talk about what you have, any plans of saving your own country if you are considered a terrorist that you say you aren't. Because I'm an immigrant, I'm not a terrorist, but everyone in America is, and that says a lot about corruption. So stay tuned on the next video and we'll talk about that next time. Peace.